The Seerah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, part 19. So after the incident of the sacrifice of Abdullah, Abdul Muttalib now turns his attention towards getting Abdullah married. And so he approaches a man called Abd Manaf, Wahab ibn Abd Manaf, who had a daughter called Amina, who was extremely beautiful and pious. So Abdullah was married to Amina, the daughter of Wahab ibn Abd Manaf. And when Abdul Muttalib was taking Abdullah to get married to Amina, an amazing occurrence happened. It is said that there was a lady at that time whose name was Fatima bint Murrah, and she was very well versed in the Injil, the Bible, and the Torah, the Torah. And in the Bible and in the Torah, in the scriptures, she had read that a final prophet is coming, he will come in Arabia, and so on and so forth. So when Abdul Muttalib was taking Abdullah, Fatima bint Murrah saw him, and she called him and she said that, I want you to spend one night with me, and if you do so, I will give you 100 camels. Abdullah was a pious, upright individual. He was following in the footsteps of his father and his grandfather before him. He said, أَمَّا الْحَرَامُ فَالْمَمَاتُ دُونَهُ. He said, it is better that I die than that I commit haram. It is better, death is better than committing haram. I'm not that kind of person. I can't fulfill your request. So Abdullah moved on, and then he got married to Amina, spent a few days with Amina, and then on the way back, Abdullah passed by this woman, Fatima bint Murrah, again. Now Fatima bint Murrah, this time she ignored Abdullah. She didn't give him the same attention as last time, and she did not request him that he come to her. So Abdullah was quite puzzled by this, quite surprised. So he said to her, why aren't you making the same offer to me again? So she said that when I offered myself to you for 100 camels, you refused. You said, I'm not that kind of a person. Well, let me tell you, I'm not that kind of a woman also. I'm not a loose woman. I don't do zina. But the reason why I wanted you to come to me is because when you were going to get married, I saw the light of prophethood, shining in your forehead. And I had read in the scriptures the mention of the last and final prophet who will come in Arabia, and so I understood that you are carrying that light of prophethood in your forehead. And I realized that whichever woman you go to, that you get married to, this nur will be transferred over to her. So I wanted to be the mother of that prophet, and this is why I offered you 100 camels in exchange for spending time with me. Otherwise, I am not also that kind of a woman. I'm not a loose woman. And so now that you're coming back to me, the nur of the prophethood is no longer in your forehead. And so I have no need for you now, because the nur has been transferred over. And it had, obviously, we know it had been transferred over to Amina, who Allah Ta'ala had decreed would be the blessed mother of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And then the Fatima bint Murrah asked him that, where did you go in the meantime? So Abdullah replied that I have been married to the daughter of Wahab ibn Abd Manaf, and I spent time with her. So Fatima bint Murrah, she said that this is Allah Ta'ala's decree, and Allah Ta'ala's decree is that it has gone to whomever He chooses. I wanted the light of the prophethood transferred over to me, but it has gone to whomever Allah Ta'ala chooses. So this was an amazing occurrence at the time of the marriage of Abdullah with Amina. And in Tariq Tabri, the same narration is recorded, except the person, the woman, she is recorded to have been Qital. Qital was the sister of Waraqa bin Nawfal. Qital bint Nawfal was the sister of Waraqa bin Nawfal. And Waraqa bin Nawfal, as you know, he was the great alim, the great scholar, to whom Khadija radiyallahu ta'ala anha took Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he first received revelation. So Waraqa ibn Nawfal was a great alim, and he had read in the scriptures that this last and final prophet is coming, and so he was excited about this. And this is why when he met Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him about being visited by Jibreel alayhi salam, then Waraqa bin Nawfal immediately understood, and he said that you will be the last and final prophet of Allah, and your people will throw you out, and so on. And if I live long enough, then I will support you. So Waraqa bin Nawfal had been narrating all this stuff to his sister Qital. And so when Abdullah was passing by her, Qital saw the light of prophethood in his forehead, and so she requested him also. And she said to him, I will give you as many camels as were sacrificed in place of you. She knew about the incident of the sacrifice. So she said, I'll give you as many camels as were sacrificed in place of you, meaning I'm offering you 100 camels, come spend some time with me. But obviously Abdullah, he refused, and he went to Amina, spent some time with her, and the Nur was transferred over to Amina, and Amina was chosen to be the blessed mother of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And finally, I'll just mention that the coming of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the signs of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam were mentioned in the Bible and in the Torah and in the past scriptures in great detail. Now the scriptures have been changed, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's name has been taken out, even though the Christian theologians and scholars tell us that there is a mention of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam still in the Bible, but without his name now, because people have taken out his name. And you know, there's hints towards that, where there's mentioned that there will come a Messiah unto you and he will guide you. So some Christian scholars agree that this is mentioning Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And likewise in the Torah, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is mentioned quite often in the original Torah before it was changed. And in this regard, there's an interesting story that there was once a Jew who hated Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and so whenever he used to read the Bible, the Torah, he used to come across the name of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and this used to anger him, because in the Torah there was mentioned that there will come unto you a final prophet, and his name will be Muhammad, and this will be his description, and so on and so forth. So this person, he had hatred for whatever reason for Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam due to the false propaganda, etc. So one day in his anger, he decided that today I'm going to cut out the name of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam from the Torah. And so he sat down with the Torah with a knife, because in those days they didn't have Tipex. So he said, whenever I come across the name of Muhammad, I will cut out the name of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this is back in the days when the Torah hadn't been changed so much. And so he started, and he decided to read the Torah from cover to cover. Whenever he came across the name of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he would cut out the name, and then he would put the name, that scrap of paper, to one side. And he continued in this way until he finished. And then when he picked up the Bible was in fragments. It was falling apart. Sorry, not the Bible, the Torah. It was falling apart. It was in fragments. And then he was shocked. And then when he looked on the other side where he had placed the cutouts of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he found that there was a huge pile of paper. So he realized that without Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Torah is nothing. And this had such an impact on him that he accepted Islam. So there is no doubt that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was mentioned in the past scriptures, and people like Fatima bint Murrah and Qital bint Nawfal and Waraqa ibn Nawfal, they recognized the signs of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam from Abdullah And later on, Waraqa ibn Nawfal recognized the signs in Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself.
اللهم صل على محمد في الليل إذا يغشى وصل على محمد في النهار إذا تجلى وصل على محمد في الآخرة والأولى.